Happy October 30th, everyone. Welcome to Midwest Horror Network's October 2020 special, where we talk about all of the Simpsons Treehouse of Horror episodes. Today we are talking about Treehouse of Horror 30, which is going to be our last one for a little bit because Treehouse of Horror 31 was delayed to November 1st due to a baseball game. But be sure to tune in to our YouTube channel tomorrow for a nice little surprise in place of our discussion of Treehouse of Horror 31. And of course, we'll be getting our discussion of Treehouse 31 out to you guys as soon as we are able to. You can listen to what we've had to say about all these previous episodes wherever podcasts are available or on our YouTube channel, and hear about all the ups, downs, middle-of-the-road segments, everything we've had to say about the Simpsons Treehouse of Horror up to this point.
I agree. This is definitely something I'm very glad I did, and I never want to do it again.
It was definitely a challenge to get 30 of these things watched and a full discussion on each one recorded, releasing one a day every day this October.
So we're not doing one a day for the next 10 years?
No.
Before we begin our discussion on today's episode, if you've liked what you've heard from us so far and you haven't yet, please subscribe to our YouTube channel and you'll see all of our other content, past, present, future. Alright, so let's get right into it. The intro for this episode of Treehouse of Horror, which this was also the 666th episode of The Simpsons.
Somebody cue Iron Maiden.
Yep. And it starts with kind of a spoof of The Omen. Marge gives birth to a baby boy, and Homer is concerned that Bart having a little brother would be like introducing Dracula to Frankenstein, so he doesn't want that to happen. So Dr. Hibbert offers him instead a baby girl whose mother passed away while giving birth. But he warns Homer that the baby, who is Maggie by the way, has tested positive for evil, and Maggie, using telepathic powers, shoves Hibbert into some sort of...
baby incubation chamber?
Yeah, some kind of incubation chamber, and basically fries him into dust. So then Homer brings Maggie home, and he's introducing her to her room, and he puts up a Nemo poster, and says to her, "You're just like Nemo. His mother died at the beginning too." And he looks in the mirror and he sees that Nemo spelled backwards is Omen, which frightens him. And he puts up a race car poster, and it turns out race car is a palindrome, which also frightens him. That poster comes down showing the Nemo Omen poster again. Maggie's doing evil things that are kind of similar to the XXX spoof from a previous episode of Treehouse of Horror. And she uses like a lizard tongue to eat a bird. And she coughs up the bird onto Homer, and Homer calls down to Marge, "I fed the baby." Cut to Maggie's birthday party. Jimbo, Kearney, and Shauna hang themselves, as reference to the famous birthday party scene of The Omen.
And then begin to try to have a threesome?
After hanging themselves.
Yeah, they're just
hanging in midair and they're starting to fuck each other, essentially.
What did you call it, Zach?
Eiffel Tower in the sky.
Nice.
Or the Hanging Tower of Eiffel.
I like that second one better.
Yeah, I'm going to go with that.
Ned Flanders begins to suspect that Maggie is evil or the Antichrist, and he wonders if it's wrong to kill a child. And then Maggie uses her powers to turn Rod and Todd Flanders into emo kids. And Ned says to himself, "Looks like I'll be digging 3 graves."
Jesus.
Looks like I'll be diddling 3 graves tonight.
So then cut to a church, and this is of course referencing the church at the end of the Omen movie. Ned's about to kill Maggie with a knife, and Marge and Homer come barging in, and Ned says to him, "Look, she bears the mark of the beast," and moving some of her hair aside reveals a Mickey Mouse birthmark.
That was so funny it hurt.
Fucking Disney.
I believe this is the first Treehouse of Horror produced under Disney's ownership. I think the one before this was the first one aired, but this was the first one produced.
Okay.
And Ned's like, oh, wait, no, here. And then he shows the 666 symbol on her. And then Maggie levitates herself and impales Ned, Homer, and Marge. And the way that the spikes hit them, their bodies are sort of laid over them. They form 3 X's, which forms the title Treehouse of Horror 30. And then Maggie reveals the 666 on her head again. But then there's also episode 666 or 667 if Fox changes the schedule.
I thought that was clever.
Damn,
Those
Fox.
sons of bitches.
You got both Disney and Fox in one.
Yep.
Nice.
Why not?
Why not? So let's go into our first segment, Danger Things.
Well-
Danger David, tell us about Danger Things.
You did not just call him Danger David.
Dilly, I did.
Dude, it's like I thought they were gone. Like I actually genuinely believed that the puns were gone. Like he hadn't done it for like
It's
5 or 6 episodes.
brand-
5 or
Branded.
6? No, it's been a while.
This is our temporary Treehouse finale, Mark. I'm going to be doing whatever I can.
The love of all things unholy.
He does what he wants. Okay.
Oh my god.
Danger
Anyway.
fucking David.
He does have the power to mute people's mics.
True.
Yep.
But because I'm explaining this next segment, he's not going to mute mine.
Nope.
Yoth. Anyway, so parody, obviously, of Stranger Things. We knew it was going to happen eventually with The Simpsons. Obviously, we start out in the 80s.
It just says the 80s.
The
Makes
80s.
Very abundantly clear.
Yeah, and we got, I think, Milhouse, Nelson,
Martin.
Martin, Lisa, and Bart.
Lisa wasn't in there.
Oh, she wasn't in there?
No.
Okay. And they're in the treehouse playing E.T.
On Atari.
on Atari.
The which I love, absolutely love that reference.
Which, yeah, if you're not familiar with the game, it's one of the worst kind of rated games ever of all time.
Which a quick 30-second thing. I was watching a documentary about the company of Atari, and I love one of the quotes from one of the engineers. They say, "I don't understand why everyone gives that game so much shit. It's like we made way worse games than that game."
Yeah.
The
It's because it was a licensed title.
Yeah.
You just expected more of it.
I mean, that's Spielberg's fault.
I mean, you're not entirely wrong there.
I was a part of that. So yeah, night ends. They're going home. Milhouse is riding his bike alone. Obviously, if you're a fan of Stranger Things, you know what happens next. He gets attacked by a Demogorgon. A few days later, his parents are kind of worried that he didn't show up that night. Milhouse's dad goes crazy and starts bashing the walls with a sledgehammer because he thinks Milhouse is behind the walls. He starts setting up the Christmas lights like Winona Ryder does in
The actual show.
The actual show. And so that Milhouse can communicate from the other side. And then his mom's like, well, Milhouse is gone. Now it's time for me to tell you that I'm having an affair. And he realizes that it's her dance teacher.
It's
or
Milhouse's breakdance teacher who is Disco Stew, and he does the worm going into the room and
Yeah.
says, "Have you told him yet?" "Not now."
Not
And then he just worms back out of the room.
Dude, it looked like his legs weren't working.
That's
Like
the worm.
The worm.
It
You've seen the
looked-
worm before?
Yes. Many moons ago. But this looked way worse.
No, it's always been that bad.
Yeah, it has. And then Milhouse starts communicating with the Christmas lights. And then
His dad's
like,
"Not now.
"Oh,
Your
no."
parents, the adults are loud talking. Go to your room." And then you see the lights just flicker one by one going up the stairs.
and he's like, easy on the light bill, son. God, poor Milhouse. What a freaking ass. And then he, from the other side, he calls, makes a phone call to Lisa somehow. Yeah, I don't know. He's asking if she likes
No,
Milhouse.
is Lisa there? Is this Millhouse? Well, that depends. Do you like Millhouse? I like him, but I don't like him.
Okay,
Wrong number.
Hangs
up.
up. And then we get a shot from the mall. Forget what the mall was called.
It was Starcourt Mall, like in the show. but then the rats kind
rats
of rearrange
changed
it into like rat court or something like that.
Yeah.
something like that.
So Lisa finds a portal to the other dimension, or the over and under is what they call it for The Simpsons. Yeah, the over and under, and then pretty much finds Milhouse wrapped in like really thin vines, and kind of takes him off. And was like, "You could have broken free and gotten out of here. I didn't want to." Is that what he said?
It was
I
like,
like
it
the
would've been-
embracement.
I like the
Yeah.
embrace. Yeah, well, if
Well,
you
that's
see his
just
parents,
sad.
well, I mean,
It's just depressing.
kind of depressing.
Coming up, Millhouse.
Then they realize that it's just a more fucked up version of reality, and then they pretty much are getting chased by a lot of Demogorgons,
Yeah.
and
Like
then they
a lot
run
of them.
a lot of them, and then they run into Homer in there.
Well, first they hide in the school bus,
Okay,
and Lisa reveals that she has psychic powers, and
Yeah,
Milhouse
just like
says,
11.
"You have powers." Well, all women do. We just don't like to because it makes you look unfeminine or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
We needlessly lost a lot of witches back in Salem.
and then they jump out of the bus because the Demogorgons are trying to get in. Then they run into Homer, who's for some reason in there and is exterminating them with a
Flamethrower. Because Mr.
flamethrower.
Burns opened up a portal to find monsters.
And he's just in there pretty much cleaning up.
How many
Making
portals
sure-
does that man have?
He's got like the demon portal.
He's got quite a few.
Stranger Things portal.
Yeah.
He's got quite a few portals.
He's rich. He can afford it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Exactly.
like normally people make deals with Satan once. This dude must have made deals like 5 times with Satan.
I mean,
Yeah,
when
some
you're a
kind of
corporate
blackmail.
billionaire,
Or some kind of blackmail. Yeah, exactly.
I'm assuming
correct.
blackmail because like you only get those deals like once.
again, he's a
Yeah.
corporate billionaire.
Yeah.
He's going to have connections.
It's got some
It's
fucking
also
great
evil
connections.
as fuck. That too.
But yeah, they run into Homer and he explains why he's there. And then one of the Demogorgons tries to convince them to stay. I guess pretty
Yeah.
much creating a whole pitch that this is not so bad.
Schools are good. You can walk to restaurants.
Property values low.
Property values low,
They even have Amazon carriers. They just
Yeah.
throw packages at the door.
which is accurate because the regular carriers throw the packages at the door. So, yeah,
Yeah, I've had some bad ones in the past.
I've been pretty lucky with mine.
me too. And then I think after that they cut back to them in the living room, just as a family living in this Demogorgon world. And then Ned Flander version of the Demogorgon comes in, and Homer's and uses the flamethrower and fucking disintegrates him.
Incinerates him, yeah.
This was okay.
Yeah.
It was. I mean, like I think it comes back to that old parody rule: is that if you don't really know the material as well, I've watched few episodes. Just for some reason, I just wasn't able to get into
Really?
Stranger Things. I got to give it another shot, but I just wasn't able to get into it for some reason. I don't know why, and a lot of this stuff is lost on me.
Yeah,
I like Stranger Things, but don't love it. What holds me back from loving it is I grew up with all the stuff that it's taking from. So it's like I know what all this is from, so it can never be great to me. I enjoyed this segment, but it is very... Like, the jokes were there, and a lot of the bits worked for me, but story-wise, it just kind of hopped from Stranger Things reference to Stranger Things reference without much connective tissue going from one scene to the next.
It was kind of like piggyback writing on the premise.
Yeah,
essentially.
so this one really is, if you have not seen the show, you have no idea what to fill those holes in with.
yeah,
But I
and
liked a
spoiler
good-
alert too.
Yeah.
So
But I liked a good deal of the jokes.
I like the Amazon one. I thought that was funny.
Just whip your fucking package at the door. Just what? Psh!
Yeah. I was like, oh, they're even dicks in this world. And then when Homer's like, be quiet, Lisa, Daddy's working. I thought that was funny, but
Yeah.
but for the most part, like I was trying to get, like, it's almost like I wanted to. I actually felt the way I feel about this segment is the way I feel about Stranger Things. I want to get into it, but it's hard.
it's a good show, but like Brandon said, like we know where it's taking from, so
Yeah.
you can't really consider it original. But I enjoyed it. It was funny. It got to the point.
And the fact that people like season 3 is proof that 80s nostalgia has finally gotten too far.
Yeah. Especially with like the E.T. game they were freaking playing in the beginning.
Yeah, that was you know you
That
gotta
was
be
funny.
kind of nerdy to know that reference.
Yeah, you do.
And I liked how when Milhouse's father was trying to find Milhouse, he's just like throwing all these 80s nostalgia things out of the closet. Like there's a Prince record,
That was fucking hilarious.
some other things too.
It was
That's
good.
fine.
There was a good animation though. Like
I liked the backgrounds
Yeah.
that they made for this one.
and the Demogorgons design running around in there, and they did a really good job.
Yeah, way more than there were in the show.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
Way
never see
more.
you never see more than one at a time in the show.
Especially like the first season.
Yeah.
Even in the second and third season, you only see one at one point.
Yeah, in season 2, it was like they went to like
Actually,
that big thing, the Mind Flayer.
Yeah, like even actually now that I think about it, even in season 2, you get a baby one. Season 3, you don't see the damn thing till the very end where they reveal it's in Russia. So yeah.
Yeah.
Hey,
But the reviews there was like more than one towards like season 3.
okay. I think the one thing I do want to kind of go back and go see real quick, just because I know I missed a lot, was when they were in the arcade. And like they had all like the arcade
Yeah,
machines
I
were all
saw-
labeled.
I saw a Charles in Charge.
I missed a bunch of them.
game in there.
The one I caught though that I liked was a complete waste of time. I was like, I wish I had the pause. I mean, we you know, obviously I could have asked
we could
Brandon,
have,
but
we didn't.
correct. We were on a mission. We wanted to get going, but I will go back and I'll take a look at that real quick. I'll pause it and I'll see all the different background gags. Sure will. I might.
Not.
My favorite part was like when the Milhouse's parents are just in there fighting, and he finally appears and just like, go away. We're arguing right now.
We're having loud talk.
Go to your room.
Don't drive up the electrical bill.
Mark, tell us about segment 2, Heaven Swipes Right.
It's hilarious. So it's amazing how they choose these parodies on very specific movies. So this parody is based on a movie called Heaven Can Wait, which is based on I believe another movie that was it's the same premise, but there's another title of the movie in the 30s. And then also there is one in the early 2000s, which is...
And one in the 40s as well.
And one in the 40s as well. This has been done a couple times. I forget
Here
what the-
Comes Mr. Jordan was the 30s
Thank
one.
you.
And Down to Earth was the 2001 one
Yes.
with Chris Rock.
Chris Rock. They're all the same story. That Homer's at a football game, hanging out with all his buddies, and their quarterback ends up choking. So he starts screaming, "Choke, choke, choke!" And he asks for a hot dog. They toss him a hot dog, and then it goes directly into his mouth, and he, of course, chokes. Then they put him on the choke cam, and everybody watches him die, which is disturbing in a different way. And then he literally becomes a ghost, and he's still shouting choke, and he looks down at his body. He's like, oh, that's not good. So he goes up to heaven, and they're checking him in, and he's like, this is not what I thought heaven would look like. It's a very corporate retreat type of thing. He's like, yeah, God sold out to Google.
He's just sitting in Miami as a hurricane starting. Huh. So I guess global warming is a thing.
Miami Marlins fan.
Yeah, and he's like, maybe I shouldn't have sold to Google. Yeah. And then there.
Did I make the right decision?
Well, it was like a hurricane going on. It's like maybe global warming is real.
That's funny. So they figure out through the course of checking all their information that it turns out, wait a minute, Homer's not supposed to die. It was an accident. So they say, he's like, yeah, I'll just come back and I'll, get my body, and then I can eat the lasagna that's still in the fridge tonight. I certainly hope nobody took it. And then they say, well, you can't really do that because your body is all, bloated. And they show him a few pictures, like, that's the before one, this is the after one. Literally, Bart's on top of it, jumping on it.
An extremely bloated body.
Yes,
He
even
was dumped in the lake.
pretty much. Oh, yeah, that's right, because the paramedics couldn't lift him, so they just tossed him into the lake.
Which begs the question, if they couldn't lift him, how the hell did they get him out of the stadium and into a lake?
Through the power of they needed the joke to work.
Yeah.
It's a shitty joke.
And
bulldozer.
and cartoon logic. So they said, well, you can just choose from a couple different bodies. So the whole episode is him rotating through multiple different bodies. That's essentially the plot.
I like how he just gets the option to do that just at free will. It's just like, just be aware. This is the only one you get. No, he gets anybody he wants, essentially.
Well, it's people who are gonna die that day anyway. Because like the premise from the movie is so my favorite version of the movie is the 1978 one with Warren Beatty, who he actually co-directed that one. And so what happens is he dies, but what happened was he wasn't supposed to die. The angel that was supposed to take his soul was pretty much really eager, and there was like going to be like a traffic accident. He's on his bike going through a tunnel, and there's a truck that like loses control. And so the angel's just like, I'm not going to make him suffer. I'm just going to take his soul now. But when they get to heaven, they see through like all the bureaucracy and paperwork, he was going to make it through that traffic accident and live. So what then happens is like, okay, we'll get you back to your body, but he was cremated. So they are going to find him a body of somebody who died, but nobody has discovered the body yet. Because even though that person died, nobody knows he's dead, so they can easily put his soul into that body, and he can live out as that person.
That's the general consensus. And literally the same thing happens in the Chris Rock one. He jumps from a bunch of different bodies.
How many times has this movie been remade?
It's been remade quite a bit.
Like 4 or 5 throughout the last.
Is this like that one damn movie
years.
that came out 2 years ago? The one with what the hell's her name?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. The one with Lady Gaga and Bradley Cooper.
Star is Born.
Star is
Born's been remade a lot. Too.
Yeah, it's the same kind of concept.
Okay.
Not same concept, but
like the movie's just been done to death over
like
the
every
past
generation
century.
has its version.
Yeah.
Like
So
Invasion of the Body Snatchers as well.
Okay, that movie hasn't been remade that many times.
Different
sure
versions.
about that?
Different versions.
It's different versions, different concepts of the same idea.
Yeah, but it's not called Invasion of the Body Snatchers remake times V.
The same,
56, 78, 93, 98 if you want to count the faculty, 07 with Nicole Kidman and Daniel Craig.
Nicole Kidman and
Yeah, I think
How
Puppet
the
Master.
fuck did I not hear about that one?
It wasn't well reviewed.
Wasn't well advertised either, I'm assuming.
I remember advertisements for it.
I sure as shit don't.
you know what though, I will say though that at least the Heaven Can Wait one has different titles. It's the same concept, but it's at least different titles, and there's different variations on it. Like I think one of them's like the first one was like a boxer, the next one was like a baseball guy, and then Chris Rock was a comedian. It was a big stretch there.
What year was the Chris Rock one?
2001.
Yep.
Yeah. I remember when I seen that like the year after it, when I rented it from Blockbuster one night.
Comedy or serious?
Comedy.
Okay.
100% comedy.
Yeah.
And the other ones were kind of dramedies, comedies. They were, they had a nice mix to them. I saw Heaven Can Wait when I was really, I was pretty young. My dad showed that to me.
It's a very enjoyable movie.
It is. I gotta go and see it again as an adult.
An odd pick for a Treehouse of Horror spoof because it's a romantic comedy.
Yeah. And Brandon, they've shown some weird fucking things to parody out of it.
Like Diving Bell the Butterfly spoof with the fart one. Which that was just...
We're not going to talk about that one. Move on.
It was a very odd pick. So Homer's basically cycling through bodies. The first one he finds is a football player with a six-pack, which Marge, of course, wants to do him because he has a six-pack.
She had no idea abs were even real.
Apparently so. And then they go ahead and do it, and then she wakes up the next day, and he's literally already ruined the body in one night. It's just like the funeral donuts were so good.
And then he just loses all his hair all at once.
And Marge is like, this is not going to work. I think you need to find something else. I think I can't remember the next. I think it was it the Principal Skinner's boss that he finds next?
Superintendent Chalmers.
Oh yeah, Superintendent Chalmers. So he goes through the whole thing. Bart convinces him to choose that one. Kind of fucks with Skinner a little bit and give him a purple nurple.
Give yourself a purple nurple. Right, Bart's supposed to get all A's. And now give yourself a purple nurple.
Yep.
Purpler. It's pure indigo. The man said purpler.
Damn man. And then probably one of my favorite jokes of the entire segment was when he gets his paycheck. It's like, well, I'm going to find out what a superintendent makes, and he opens it up, and then he dies.
Of a heart attack, just instantly.
Instant death.
Fucking face plants, just like nope.
And then he cycles through a few more options, and then finally landing on the perfect option.
At one point, he was Mr. Teeny.
Yeah, he was a monkey.
Krusty's monkey.
He was a monkey. He's like, I thought that something was weird when I was watching Planet of the Apes, and I wanted to root for the monkeys. And Marge is like, I don't even know. You change so many bodies. I don't even know who you are anymore. Like, pick one. So he ends up picking one to be revealed that it is Mo. Because
fucking weird
reasons.
Yeah.
And it gets weirder.
And the next bit.
And then Maggie, it turns out that Maggie has Mo's soul now. She takes out the pacifier, and then it's Mo's voice saying, "Hey Marge, I'm really happy to be here. And by the way, I'm thirsty." And Marge's like, "No."
Dude and wise guy.
What's up?
Dude and wise guy.
No, I will not imitate Mo.
God damn.
I will
Maybe
not.
Zach
Hey
could do
Marge,
it.
I'm thirsty. No, I can't do it.
That was the worst. Your comic book guy is very good, but that was the worst Mo I've ever heard.
Yeah, I can't do Mo. Thank you.
Hank Azaris. I love Hank Azaris' explanation about how he got Mo. He's like, "That's my shitty Al Pacino voice."
I still don't get how that's a shitty Al Pacino reference.
It's like my failed attempt to do Al Pacino. It literally he took the higher voice of Al Pacino during the early days pre Scarface, and then added a little bit more gravel to it, and then you got Mo. Overall, it was a
fun one.
It was fun. I mean, like, it was nothing too one way or the other about it. It was fun. I enjoyed it. I move on.
I just thought it was fun when he was just going through all the different bodies. It's like trial bases, I guess, because they're gonna die that day anyway. So
I thought it was cool though how they incorporated the Tinder shit into the whole old concept of heaven can wait. Doing the whole swipe thing and looking for things. I thought that was a cool concept. It kind of did an updated modern version of it. And actually, if they ever did another remake of the version, they may steal that idea.
maybe
It's not a bad idea to run that story.
I like when he was like flipping through the photos. At one point, we saw Professor Hibbert from Futurama in there.
Yeah, that's funny. One of many references of Futurama within Simpsons. But yeah, overall, it was a fun episode. The superintendent thing was fucking hilarious. They
ended on a very disturbing note.
Mo, Soul, and Maggie wanting to suck on Marge's tits.
It's still really just curious of how that happened.
Yeah, that implies both that Mo was not supposed to die that day and that Maggie was.
Yeah, which is fucked up.
Well, it's not the first time that like infant murder has happened in a Treehouse episode. So
true.
Yeah.
So the only difference is that groundskeeper Willie wasn't there that time.
True.
Even Zach was like, "Yeah, it's a little fucked up."
Just Mo being very perverted as usual. Mo being Mo, but in Maggie's body.
That reminds me of one regular episode. I can't remember what it was, but I think... Okay, I remember what it was. It was the one where Bart got Dennis Leary's cell phone.
You showed me that one.
Yeah, and Dennis Leary tells Marge, you can keep the phone, but here's a word of advice. Switch on the GPS and you can track where your boy goes because your son is trouble. And Marge is feeling uneasy about spying on their son, and Homer says, no, it's okay to spy on people you love. And then you see like a hidden camera in the room, and then it cuts like Mo in a room watching them. And he's like, yeah, that's right, Marge. And then it cuts to the FBI in a van, and they're watching Mo, and they're just like, keep talking, pervert.
Yeah.
Every word you say buys you another 10 years in the slammer.
Yeah, I love that. That's fantastic.
I enjoyed this one. It was very fun.
Yeah, it was fun. It kept its pacing, it kept its energy. I enjoyed it. It was fun.
So, Zach, you get the last one for this episode. When Harry Met Slimy.
Yeah, so this is a Shape of Water parody. So, yeah. So it starts off with one of the smoky old lady sisters of Marge. Yeah, smoky old lady sister of Marge. So yeah, Marge's old sister, Smoky Lady, is working at the plant. So apparently there's a nice little secret facility at the bottom of the plant. She's trying to talk to the lady who can't speak from the actual movie,
But she can speak in this. She just really doesn't want to talk to smarky old lady sister.
She talks to her in sign language, and in the subtitles it says, I can talk, I just choose not to talk to you.
Yeah. So, smoky old lady sister woman decides she's just going to go for a smoke in this do not enter room over here that's sealed off with a nice big blast door and all that.
The Simpsons have a real hard problem with ignoring signs or following directions on signs.
All right, continuing on. So she goes in there. There's a bunch of weird little experimental things, a bunch of test tube skinners, I think they are. Yeah.
No, it was Burns.
Some Burns vultures, which the test tube Burns and the vulture Burns, those have been in previous episodes before.
There you go.
Yeah, regular episodes.
Yeah.
And considering the conversation we just had about Burns about 30 seconds ago, is that really that shocking to find that he has clones of himself in a secret government facility somewhere?
No, again. So yeah, she goes to a corner of the room. She starts smoking, and then what's his name? Was it Kang?
King, yes.
Yeah. He's essentially in the pool where the murky guy from the movie would be. And then, essentially, most of this episode is just these two falling in love with each other. That's really what happens. You know, they start, hitting on each other.
The L word. That really should have been a conversation, but okay.
Yeah. So later on in the episode, Burns comes in and says, we're going to dissect you, but I could tell you the, secret process for clean, efficient energy. Oh, we were going to do it tomorrow, but now we're going to do it today. So he leaves. They need to escape, so she calls Homer. She's just like, what the hell do you want? And she's just like, do you want me to get away from the planet for the rest of your life? And he shows up immediately to help her out. So yeah.
You rang.
So his plan is to smuggle Kang out in this radioactive barrel filled with mice. He puts them in. Thank you for considering the mice. And he just starts to eat them. So they sneak him out the back door. And Burns is about to catch them. But then Homer's just like, distraction, words, hold off a little bit. And Kang, do it! And Kang proceeds to eat
Smithers' head.
Yeah, the gay assistant's head off. And
Smithers.
Burns just gets knocked out. And then they drive over to what is essentially the Hollywood Boulevard sign thing or whatever, where Kodos shows up to pick everybody up. And then out of nowhere, Kang pulls out the fucking infinite gauntlet. You had that the whole fucking time. Why didn't you use it?
Yeah, that was random.
Yeah, and then just incinerates
awesome.
everybody. So yeah, him, Kang, Kodos, both of these smoky old lady ugly sisters of Marge decide to leave with Kang and Kodos. And they essentially, become a relationship and end of episode. And then there's an after credit scene because they made a Marvel joke where they're on some really hot planet and smoky old lady sister people are nagging Kang and Kodos. And they are clearly annoyed. Boring.
It did not work for me.
No, it really didn't. There was one joke that I laughed really hard at, and I actually may pick it as my favorite joke.
It may be the same one I might be picking, but should we just save that for our wrap-up?
Yeah, we can save that. Yep.
All right, I won't bring it up.
But there was one really, really funny joke. But besides that, it was a pretty bleh episode.
Yeah.
I would say a below average episode.
Not much to say for this one.
Yeah, it's...
Waiting for it to get done.
Yeah, that one joke was the only thing I liked about the segment.
Which, doing a Shape of Water parody isn't a bad idea.
No.
And it's... I think the idea of pairing Selma with Kang was a good idea. But it was like just the jokes weren't there.
Yeah, because the creature from The Shape of Water actually did appear in the pool. And they're just like, that dude's ugly. And they ate him.
They roast him and eat him. Yeah, I don't have much to say about this one.
No.
It just didn't work.
Yeah. Just move to the wrap-up.
All right. So... funniest moment of Treehouse of Horror 30.
I believe that is. I believe that you and I have the same one, which is Mr. Burns, telling in the third segment, telling the army guys to don't shoot at the van, shoot at the driver, and then the army guy shoots at the driver that's driving their car. It's like, not our driver.
Yeah,
fucking moron.
That's what I was gonna pick as well.
Yeah, that was a pretty funny episode, or a pretty funny moment. And then the when he dies, when he sees the superintendent's paycheck, that was definitely a tie for that funniest moment.
I also liked the boys playing the E.T. video game at the beginning of segment 1.
No video game can be better than this.
Yeah. That's because you two have that joke you loved for segment 3, which is also one of my favorites. I'm going to pick a different one, and I'm just going to go with Milhouse's parents arguing and fighting and telling Milhouse to go fuck himself because they're arguing, even though he's in a different dimension.
Yeah, the electricity joke. Don't run up the electricity bill!
Scariest, creepiest, grossest, darkest, most violent moment. I know what mine is.
Go ahead.
Mo and Maggie's body.
Yeah.
It's just weird.
Yeah. I really can't beat that.
No.
I wish I could do the voice.
I can't. Like, I can't beat that. Like, I mean, like, yeah, the stuff where they all get stabbed and they make the XXX's was pretty cool, violent wise. But
just the idea behind the Mo Maggie thing is just creepy.
It's also kind of funny.
There's also like, and there's other things to think about too with that. Like, the more you think about it, the creepier and weirder and more disturbing it becomes.
I would just say weirder.
Maggie was supposed to die and Mo wasn't.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to choose the same one just because it's really disturbing.
Yeah,
Felony.
A lot of implications with this one.
Felony.
Yeah, because I mean, my second choice would probably have to be somebody or watching somebody play freaking E.T. because I didn't like the game. Hey, it was pretty bad.
That was your most disturbing moment?
Yeah, it was my most disturbing moment, reliving that moment.
Zagamus.
Fucking the Mo thing.
Yeah. It's kind of hard to top that one.
Yeah, it really is.
Come on, Atari.
The
fucking horrifying.
So, least favorite segment of the episode?
Three. Yeah, it was just boring.
Right.
Like, there was just nothing.
They didn't do the parody well enough. It was a great concept.
Yeah.
It felt flat everywhere. Besides that one joke, and that's the only thing that all four of us really probably took from that one segment.
Yeah, I would, it was just a very, very boring segment. There wasn't a lot going on. I mean, and also too, again, going back to the parodies, I have not seen this movie, so therefore I am a little bit behind on what's going on. I don't know if it helped at all.
No, not really.
Okay, well, that was that was a at the same time consensus right there.
This was a bad parody. This was a boring segment. Even that car joke was just kind of meh. Like, and again, just throwing the fucking infinite gauntlet for no reason. Like, what the hell?
Yeah, that was super random. Like, unnecessarily random. But yeah, overall, kind of, segment.
Not much to say. It's
it fell
just
flat.
boring. That's really it.
Yeah, and it's a good movie.
Oh yeah, good movie. Not a good parody.
No.
On my list of shit to see.
Yeah, there's just nothing about it. Not even the animation. Nothing that was just like, ooh, I'll enjoy that. It's just one joke. Okay.
All right. Favorite segment of Treehouse of Horror 30. Mine would probably be the second one. I think that was the most complete story. It was definitely not of the horror genre, but it did end with a creepy moment. Overall, I thought it was pretty funny. It was a very solid segment.
I'm going to say 2 as well, just because of the ending, and the Stranger Things thing was just meh.
Yeah, Stranger Things wasn't bad, but it just kind of hopped from story beat to story. Like, if you haven't seen the show, there's a lot of holes that you're going to be missing.
I'm also going to go with 2 as well. I actually I enjoyed it from start to finish. There was too much inconsistency and just overall kind of from the other 2. So the second one I enjoyed from start to finish. And it was kind of cool to see a parody on a movie that not a lot of people know about and actually be done well.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to have to go with 1 with this one just because, A, I am a fan of Stranger Things. 2, I am a big fan of the 80s and arcade games. So it brought a lot of, memories back, obviously. And I am a fan of the animation for the first segment. And then how they did with the underworld that they had. So 2's, I enjoyed it, but the only thing I loved about it was the ending because it was fucking disturbing, and that's the only thing I'm gonna remember about it. And then obviously 3rd was fucking boring as hell.
Yeah. All right. So yeah, it was an okay episode. I thought it had a good intro.
The intro was the best part about it, in my opinion.
Intro was good. First segment definitely hopped from beat to beat, but jokes were there. Second segment I thought was solid, and unfortunately just kind of ended on a flat line, below average, kind of, boring segment, which is kind of disappointing, but hey, they can't all be winners at 90 plus stories, plus intros and some wraparounds. Like, there's a lot of stuff that was packed into these episodes.
Yeah, and as of like mid, like, you know, right in the middle of The Simpsons, because I'm not a major fan like Brandon, but I don't hate it like Zach. Maggie was like one of my least like favorite characters, like watching The Simpsons and like doing like the Treehouse. I think Maggie's like one of my favorite characters because she's kind of fucking badass.
I was going to say, Maggie was always one of the characters that I didn't really mind just because of these.
Thank you all for listening to today's discussion about The Simpsons Treehouse of Horror 30. We will, of course, get our discussion about Treehouse of Horror 31 out to you as soon as we are able to, but be sure to tune in to our YouTube channel tomorrow for a special little surprise from us. If you enjoyed this podcast, be sure to listen to all of our previous Treehouse of Horror discussions, but also look up our regular podcast, the Nightmares Podcast, wherever podcasts are available, and look us up on social media at Midwest Horror Network on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and
Slasher.
And of course, if you are checking this out on YouTube, please give that like button a press and that subscribe button a smash. And then go ahead and click that little dingy bell to be notified every time we drop amazing content here on the Midwest Horror Network channel on YouTube. And if you are listening to this on Spotify or several other streaming services, go ahead and press that little follow button to also be notified every time we do something special like this. And also every time we drop a brand new podcast, the Nightmares Podcast. We will see you all tomorrow over on the YouTube channel for something very special for Halloween.
Happy October 30th, everyone, and have a great Halloween tomorrow.